Didn't we all grow up thinking that we were going to be somebody special? But as we grow up, life gets busy. We go to school, we get jobs, we have kids, and we get into routines, don't we? And we go from dreaming of a life of significance to living a life of struggle.
See, I wasn't just broke, I was broken. And for the next 6 years, I fell into a rut. And slowly but surely, I forgot how to dream.
Have you ever felt that disconnect between the life you're currently living and the greatness that you know is inside of you, like this chasm between your potential and your current situation? But what if greatness is actually something within you that's waiting to be uncovered?
We are all becoming something with every breath we take, every thought we think, every decision we make. In this very moment, you are becoming something different than you were in the moment before. The question we should all ask is, am I happy with what I'm becoming?
I learned a long time ago that you can't go back and have a brand new start, but you can start now and have a brand new end.
See, I don't know what you're watching. I don't know who's watching. I don't know why you're watching, but what if this is your second shot at life? What if this is it?
Stepping into the culture here at Symmetry that was created by Brendan Ellison, Casey Watkins, and Brian Pope gave me a precious thing, opportunity. The opportunity to decide who I was becoming and not to just be dragged by the constantly flowing river of life.
If you're sitting out there and you're stuck, if you're sitting out there and you're desperate for a change, me too. Me too. I was too. But I'm telling you, there's hope. See, you're part of a company that doesn't care about the mess you show up with. No. See, here, you get rewarded for the heart you play with.
Maybe the problem with my life was not that I was unlovable, it's not that I wasn't good enough, it's that I quit everything. And what if I didn't quit? Where would I be?
You've been spending so much time looking for an answer, praying for an answer, hoping for an answer, waiting for an answer, and I'm telling you today, you are an answer.
I think most people in America are not happy with the picture they painted. But see, you come to Symmetry. Symmetry has lots of easels. They have lots of canvases. They'll give you an easel, they'll give you a canvas, they have an unbelievable amount of paint, all different colors, and you have access to all of that, where you can paint you a new picture to live in. See, I believe that Symmetry is a company of destiny. I believe there's something special about this company.
I've said it before, but I hope you all listen to me, that it's important to design your life that'll allow you to dream like you'll live forever, but being so intentional that every day could be your last. Turn those some days into some today.
Because 10 years from now, I want you to look back at this moment on this day and know that it was the day you decided to be great.
If you're ready to get in the cockpit, pull back that throttle, and fly, we can take this thing to a whole new level.
Speaking of conference, BDubs, just worth the ticket of admission just to see speakers like that on stage.
Absolutely.
That doesn't get you fired up. I don't know what will. That was awesome.
Yeah, gonna get to see so many of those folks pour into conference out in Denver and so many more. Just couldn't be more grateful to have the type of leadership, the type of speakers, the type of trainers, the type of coaches that we have around here available to all of us, BDubs, and a lot of gratitude to you and your team and those that work behind the scenes, and much gratitude to you, Doug, too. Hear so often from the field just how much of a difference you made to this company the day you showed up and started pouring into all the systems that we have, which makes it, quite frankly, possible to go on these insane runs that Quility is about to go on. And so much gratitude to both you fellas on that.
Oh, thanks,
you.
Man. Ready?
Getting ready.
Let's get fired up. Let's get some leaderboards going.
Let's do it. I got my helper today. He's gonna help us. My little gator.
Yeah,
Did you preview these ahead of time and practice your pronunciations, Todd?
I did not, because I thought you were going to do leaderboards today.
Flying by the seat of your pants, huh?
Is that coming through okay?
Yep, got it.
It's blinking over here on my end, so in case you're seeing that, let me know. Catching flights, not feelings. We're going to hear from Dave Kushner and Kellie Kushner. I know right now it listed as separate, but they are actually forming a joint agency, and we're really excited to see what they're going to do in a partnership together here moving forward. So excited about those two. Let's get it kicked off right now with the top 10 new riders. Number 3, Dina Atkinson. Number 2, Novins Bazil. And number 1, Louis Delgado with 12,254 in new rider APV. Congratulations. That is a fantastic start to everybody on the leaderboard, especially to you, Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Top 10 producers APV. Number 3, Manny. Good to see you up there, Manny. Kamisha McMillan. And number 2, Andre Nero. Third time's the charm. Good to see you up there, Mr. Nero. Top 10 producers app count. Tied for third, we've got Holly Alien, Brooke Fleming. Number 2, Mariah Maestas. And number 1, James Sattersfield with 19 applications in a week. Tremendous job. Top Medicare supplement producers. Number 3, Daniel Armstrong. Number 2, Sarah Betchlerheimer. And number 1, Katarina Pellegrino. Do you think it's got any association with the
Water?
Mm-hmm.
She's a
Possibly.
sparkling water magnate. I think so. I would assume so.
Yeah.
Could be. Top 5 disability income producers. Number 3, Catalin Nelson. Number 2, Caleb Newth. Number 1, Marcus Dellinger. Great job on the disability income. Top 5 IUL producers. Number 3, Louis Delgado again. Number 2, Jen Swaggart. And number 1, Futran. Very well done. 5 applications. Very nice job. Top 5 annuity producers. Mr. Scott Forehand. Number 4. Number 3, Ashley Todd. Number 2, Winifred Brown. And number 1, again, Jen Swaggart. $840,000 in face amount in annuity production. Jen Swaggart on fire. Nicely done, my friend.
Massive.
Mr. Resma getting back from vacation, I believe today, if not late last night. Hope he's had a great restful trip and back in the saddle. And coming in for number 3 for Debt Free Life producers, Jeffrey Fanot. Number 2, Paul Favors. And number 1, Laura Meyer. 18,121 in APV.
If you have not gotten on the debt-free train, we were just having some great conversations yesterday about adding some gas to the fire. So if you haven't gotten trained, talk to your upline, get ready, get with Mr. Resma and Jeff Sigworth, and get yourself familiar with what's happening. There's a lot of great things coming in the next couple months, and for conference for DFL especially.
A lot of concentrated effort, guys. A lot of lead opportunities, a lot of opportunity for us to innovate and start to make debt-free life feel and look and process almost like mortgage protection and term life products. The amount of responsiveness, the amount of time from first appointment to application being issued is being shrinking behind the scenes. So definitely stay tuned to Debt-Free Life and all the opportunities that's going to provide. As always, top recruits are going to be the future of this company. And we got a tie for first with Mark Newbauer and Larry Grossman. Edward Pritchett falling behind at second. Number 1 for top direct recruits, Mr. Chris Cook, who I believe is out in Hawaii this week. We've got the trip out in Hawaii. We've got a lot of folks out here in Las Vegas for the spring tour. So a lot of folks traveling this week, and looking forward to a lot of exciting stories coming out of this. So looking forward to continued success in the building arena.
Yeah, duly noted. That is this the first time in quite a while we've seen Pogue dethroned on this leaderboard? Seems like Pogue's been just flying high on that thing for like 3 months.
Chris Cook said he wasn't scared. He's here to play.
That's right.
Top base shop recruits, number 1, Mark Newbauer with 10, Edward Pritchett with 6, Jeremy Whitaker with 5, Chris Cook again, top direct license recruits, followed by Edward Pritchett and Mr. Jacob Pogue. Total new writers, Ashley and Tyler Harris. I was talking to Ashley last week and had the opportunity for the first time to call her Ashley Harris, which is taking me some practice, but so excited to hear them get back from their wedding over across the pond, and so many tremendous pictures and cool stories about their event and their wonderful new marriage together. And we just would like to congratulate them from the corporate office and everything that they mean to this company. So tied for second, Mr. Marty Valor and Sarah Reinecke. Top direct new writers, Jacob Poe, Kyle and Lisa Kimbrell at number 2, followed by Ashley and Tyler Harris. SNA is the date. Top base shop, Jeremy Cantrell with 2, Carlton Lear, Eric Pravula tied with 14 other agency owners with 1 new SNA. The top direct SNAs, Marshall Whalen, Mike and Sarah Pappas, Edward Pritchett, Jacob Pogue. Season new agents, Doug, give him a shout out.
All right. Ooh, put me on the spot here. All right. We've got Benjamin Allison, Brian Gardner, Carrie Bailey, Cindy Searcy, Douglas Smith. I got that one. Great name, Douglas. Edgar Avila, Gina Rusioni, Jacqueline Norton, Jordan Bennett, Carissa Pittman, Lorraine Parchment, Matthew Self, Mike Pappas, direct to himself. Look at that inception there. Paris Hill, Stacy Burr, Stephanie Flores, Tanisha Burnett Jones, and Trevor Williams.
Very nice.
Feel really good about it.
BDubs, what's the significance of an SNA? What's the importance of that, my friend?
Absolutely. Seasoned new agents, man, they are off to a great start. They're writing 6 apps in 6 weeks. And that's just a marker from our research that says, man, you are a high likelihood to thrive and just grow and do great here in our world. And we're excited about that. So, and I'm smiling at Mike Pappas. I had breakfast with Sarah. She was in town visiting family in Michigan this week, which was so fun to see her. And she was telling me about Mike getting busy in the field. So that's just great to see. No surprise for him, just cranking it out. But yeah, Mike, looks like you're going to be around and do well here. I just want you to know that.
Got extra seasoning.
That's right. That's right.
Bright future, Mike.
That's
Good
right.
job. Weekly boards, leaderboards, starting off with the top AVV. There's my buddy Manny again, coming in at number 1. Total recruits, Gabriel and Ike Manulo. And the total new writers, Brenda Cox. APV, hang on, my little screen here is not wanting to show me everything. Agency owner, number 1, Jamie Susie. Top recruits, Susan Adams. Number 1 for new writers, Jamie Susie again, followed by Paige. Great job, everybody, on the agency owner leaderboards. Agency directors overall, Mr. Dave Alvarado, followed by Sean Kim. Recruits, Mark Newbauer, followed by Larry and Ann Griffin. And top new writers, Sarah Reinecke and Larry and Ann Griffin, followed shortly behind at number 2. Regional Agency Director, APV, Eileen Balmer, followed by Trey Alderson Cloutier. Overall recruits, Andrew Jimenez, Elizabeth Maddox with 13. Great job. Looking forward to seeing Andrew up there on stage here in just a little bit. New writers, Marty Valor, followed by none other than Eileen Balmer. Congratulations to our regional agency directors. Managing vice presidents, number 1, Griff Martin, followed by Brad and Kira Gainey. Number 1, Chris Cook, followed by John Ziller and my buddy Jordan Hunt. Hope all of you were able to catch that episode of Todd Talks. Had a great time with those individuals. Lots of fun chat. A lot of great notes taken from that conversation with Jordan talking about his road to 120 in 4 years and that experience. And also the guest appearance by a new cat, apparently we have in the podcast room that Jordan and Brian were able to find. So new writers for the managing vice presidents, number 1, John Ziller, and number 2, Mr. Scott Summers, followed by Chris Clark, who was just in town helping out on a lot of the behind the scenes going on with MyQuility and a lot of exciting things that come with that program rolling out at conference. Senior Vice Presidents, number 1, Kyle and Lisa Kimbrell. Get to see them in just a bit, followed by Nathan Alford. Nate, good to see you up there, buddy, and followed by the Spill Dinner group. Total Recruits, Mike and Sarah Pappas again, followed by Kyle and Lisa Kimbrell and George and Janet Matthews. And the new writers, Kyle and Lisa Kimbrell, Scott, the Mank Tank, and our good buddies. Always good to see our friends, Mike and Jennifer Colburn. And the coach, Capistrano. Executive Vice President, number 1, Miranda Martin. Just heard from her, followed by Darren Stubbs and Mr. Sean Shannon. I think Darren Stubbs is going to be on the corporate overview tonight. If any of you have not had the privilege to see Darren Stubbs do a corporate overview, he does a fantastic job. Total Recruits, 32 for Miranda Martin, 19 for Sean Shannon. Darren Stubbs with 7. And new writers, Sean Shannon with 4, Stubbs with 1. And coming into the associate partner, APV, Mr. Lynn Watkins, $691,000. Ashley and Tyler Harris, $370,000, followed by Ryan and Michelle Miller and Mr. Keyshawn. Recruits, Ryan and Michelle, followed by Lynn, then Mr. Carl Miller, Ashley and Tyler again. And man, look at this. This is what I keep seeing, BDubs. Ashley and Tyler are converting new recruits into new writers at a high clip. Congratulations to you guys, as well as Ryan and Michelle Miller, Linwood Watkins with 14, Carl Miller with 12. But Brian, we continually see Ashley and Tyler not only up there on the leaderboards for recruits, but converting to writers.
We should have them on for a chat in the near future to find out the secrets of the trade. But I know they're doing some great intentional work. A lot of what we talked about on the Builders Call too, just being intentional about coaching and training and recruiting and setting great expectations. And I've had the privilege of working with them a bit, so I get a little bit of a backstage pass on that, but it'd be great for them to scale their wisdom. So bring it on, Harris's, bring it on.
Senior partners, number 1, APV, Mr. Edward Pritchett with just over $1 million. Danny Young with 500. Jacob Pogue, 425. The Smith Agency with nearly 400. Total recruits for Edward Pritchett, 98. Jacob Pogue followed behind at second. Danny Young with 52. And Mr. Danny Young coming in there with the new writers, 24. Jacob Pogue, 22. Edward Pritchett and the Smith Agency in the senior partner category. Managing partner, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Marshall Whalen, $907,000 for the week, followed by Kevin Purdy, who was so great to hear from last week on the Builders Call. Appreciate for him pouring in. And again, thanks to Mr. Delaney, who joined me and Jordan to talk about Jordan Hunt's run to 120. Such a phenomenal job to those individuals. As I'm sitting here talking to you guys, I don't know if you can see this.
Yep.
Just got this text from Marshall Whalen, who is down in Cabo. I believe it's the Purdy Agency has got all of his 120s down in Cabo. And they've got some of their leaders gathered about doing some association right now. I don't see any drinks in their hands just yet. Well, maybe Michelle Purdy's got one, but I don't think it's alcoholic. So they're poolside in Cabo, guys, enjoying the national call. Appreciate the leadership that you all provide, and good to see from you, Marshall, always, buddy. Total new writers, 45 for the Marshall Whalen Agency. So incredible. Top directs for the week, number 1, Jacob Pogue, followed by Edward Pritchett. Base shops, number 1, Paul Bain. Nicely job, $64,000. Got to see him recently, too. Always a pleasure to get to see him. Nice job, Dave Alvarado, as well. And Ashley and Tyler building that base. Congratulations there. See you, Gus. Promotions. Elite producer. Well done, James Hickman. Top producers and promotions here this month. Daniel Davis, Eric Iserman, Gail Green, Joshua Ontenreith, Sarah Tubbs, Thomas Ellefson, and Todd Lamarckey. Doug, help me out on Joshua. You think I got that right?
I do. I was following along. It was phonetic. So as long as he follows those rules, I would assume you nailed it.
Congratulations to our top producers for sure. Promotions to team leaders, Chris Craig, Christina Bonner, Giovanna Caprosi, Jackson Murray, Jeremy Runner, Kevin Gable, Madeline Dalen, Narisa Jimenez, Spencer Tran, Vena Hagen, and Venus Diaz. Congratulations to our team leaders. Key leaders, go for it, Doug.
All right, we've got Brandon Helmink, Cassandra Mack, Frank Colonel, Hannah Jacobs, James Larson, Monica Jeremio, Sarah Tubbs, Shauna Berrigan, Steve Montgomery, and Zachary Booth.
Yeah. Breaking out the key leaders. BDubs.
Yo.
First of all, I want you to see this list. I want you to read the promotions out, but look at the agency owners we're breaking out.
Oh boy.
Doug, when you first got here, what, 2016? How many agency owners do you think we were breaking out a year in 2016?
Well, that's a great question. I would say maybe this many. They were breaking out in a month right now. This is close to a record month. I think this is what, 10, and I think we've crested at 12 in the past. But I remember crossing the threshold into even just having 100 agency owners, and now we're close to 300. So rarefied air, these great folks have entered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are backlogging quite the large agency owner academy. I'm gonna have to get with our events team quick and get this on the calendar. All right, you want me to run through these?
Absolutely.
Yes, well deserved. Congratulations to Jennifer Stanley, Thomas Ellefson, Brett Diamond, Holly Jacobs, Richard Helm, Teresa Sackman, James Slingo, Quixote Atkins, Tamara Persifield, and Tracy Young. Wonderful to see all of you level up and continue your journey and act like owners because you own it. So super pumped for y'all.
Congratulations to you all. Absolutely. Agency directors, that means Brenda Cox, Carlton Lear, Linda Chung, Paige Jensen, Bruce Lingo, and Summer Friesen, all breaking out as agency directors, continuing to see massive growth in their organizations, and excited to have that be so. Mr. James Sattersfield, welcome to the Regional Agency Director, or better known as RAD category. Excellent job, Mr. James. That puts Mr. Scott Summers up there at Senior Vice President. Watch out, that team is on the move and on the grow. Congratulations to you, Scott. Got some 115s that are dialed in, locked in, getting ready to get on that 120 run, and so grateful to be in partnership with these individuals. Look forward to seeing their journey to 120. Mr. Ben Miller and Scott Forehand, both cracking that 115 contract level. Only one more step to the top. Brian, where are we at in Summit, buddy? What is the next steps when we start reaching that 115, 120? I know we've got some future dream casting on that.
Yeah, we're getting conference is a big rollout, so we can stand by. But yeah, we actually have a whole phase in development right now for people that making that 110 to 120 run. And again, everything we do, we're trying to systemize, right? Systemize the journey, the content, make it as business in a box as possible. So we're building all kinds of calculators and tools. And, again, this is just minimum valuable product. What it's going to be in the future is going to be even greater. But for now, again, the goal is just to make sure everybody has a step-by-step pathway on what they need to learn, when they need to learn it, and resources and challenges and everything to fuel that journey. So that, look at conference for a rollout, and excited about that. But I know Scott and Ben well enough to know that they're going to be just fine with the people around them and all the existing resources. So
absolutely. As you guys heard, we're out here in Las Vegas today for the spring tour. We're going to wrap up the spring tours next week in Indianapolis. Look forward to being up there. If you've not booked your travel yet, or got your hotel, or actually gone to HQ and registered for that event, make sure that you do so. It's going to be a tremendous event. Look forward to seeing everybody there as much as we are fired up for tonight's event out here in beautiful Las Vegas. The F&G Pass Setter IUL contest and incentive trip Guys, we're excited about this. Our business with F&G has grown considerably over the last couple of years. We will be hearing more about this. Mike Resma will be on next week to talk a little more with Jeff Sigworth and talking about this contest and some of the opportunities that we're going to have. Information will be on HQ as well. As you can see, the minimum qualifications are 5 apps, $10,000 of premium. There is an opportunity to get out to San Diego. I've heard some of the details around this trip, and I know it's one that I'm trying to weasel my way into as well. Great opportunity for numerous award winners too. Check out the HQ website for all the details. But if you are writing IULs, and right now, guys, with what's going on in the economy, it is a prime opportunity to be talking to your clients about IULs. And F&G offers a fantastic product and an opportunity for, I believe it's up to 20 individuals that can actually take part and in some form or fashion to be a part of the San Diego trip. So make sure you're checking into HQ on the contest.
Sounds like you need to dust off that old license, Mr. Spivey, and get back out there and earn your way into that trip.
Thursday's training webinar, that would be tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time, hosted by Ethan Drum. He's the Director of Member Services with Brittany Torbett on Quility RX and the continued training. Hearing a lot of great success stories and the savings that we're able to bring to clients with that Quility RX card. Debt-free LIVIN with Mike Resma coming up. Protect the Protector, My Help 2.0. Open enrollment is extended. I get a lot of messages about this, guys. So if you've had curiosities, if you've had questions, if you would like to get enrolled, if you would like to become a part of that program, as always, be sure and weigh the benefits and the coverage that this program allows you and your family versus what you currently have. Make the best decisions for you. But that open enrollment has been extended, and the period now ends on June 19th. And again, more information can be found on enrollbb.com/Quility. National conference, guys, make sure we're getting registered. We've talked about this a lot. It's going to be an unbelievable opportunity. So many chances to associate with the top leaders, to hear from the people that have already created a successful path that you too can follow, and look forward to seeing everybody out in Denver. And real quick, Brian Wimpson, on that note, we were talking earlier about some of the success that we've seen in some of the coaching cohorts. Yeah. And I know some of this content will be out in Denver too, but Justin Finney continues to do a remarkable job. And I just want to make sure we're letting everybody know about their opportunities out there to get involved and to spend some time in a Justin Finney cohort if they so choose.
No, that's great. Yeah. Thanks for teeing that up. We actually right now, I think it's a perfect time. As I know in Michigan today, it's like we have a heat warning of 100, like many of you in Arizona are laughing at us, right? But it's supposed to be super humid, one of the hot days of the year. And, summer kicks in and just staying enjoying the work and enjoying the sun. And so Justin's got some new cohorts kicking off, both for new people and for key leaders and above. So basically just in HQ, go under training, and then you'll see Symmetry coaching, and you'll be able to register. But the new cohorts for new folks are rolling out the end of this month. So definitely don't miss that, because I think it's just a great ramp up to conference as well, to kind of come in set on fire and leave even more on fire for what's going on. So great opportunity. Again, there was this commercial I remember growing up. I can't remember the name of the store, but there's this guy, I think it was like Crazy Eddie or something, and he was like, price is so low, we're practically giving it all away. And when we use external experts, obviously all of our internal training is free of charge, but using external experts that add value in unique ways, they make their living doing that. So obviously we've lowered the bar as low as we can to get the ROI. We want to do everything from a results perspective, and so silly low investment, honestly, silly low investment. Super grateful for Justin, and excited for conference and what's ahead, and even excited for Kellie and Dave to pop on with us here.
Yeah, absolutely. One last thing before we switch gears here, Doug. I know we had a lot of chatter on the agency owner call this morning about the onboarding portal, and wanted you to give us a quick update, give us a little insight, buddy.
Yeah. Just wanted to make sure the announcement was made to all of the Symmetry family. So the new onboarding portal is live and out to everyone in the company. All agency owners have received their credentials and access. So they will begin using that right away. I did want to highlight that any agent out there who is recruiting, you do have access to the portal. It is qualityonboarding.com. Real simple. You go there and then you click log in with HQ credentials, and it will log you in via that same email and password, and you will have access into the system and have the ability to send invitations out directly. So that is for folks who are at a 75% contract and above, but no requests need to be made to us. That's already there for you, so you can go try it right now. Just want to make sure everybody knew. And then we have a couple dates set. We have disabled new invitations out of the existing system. All invitations moving forward from today should be sent out of the new portal, and the old portal will remain live and in place in the old portal until the 24th, and then we'll be cutting off access to that as well. So I see some questions. Yes, qualityonboarding.com. So go check it out. Let us know what you think. There is a button in the very bottom right-hand corner that allows you to report any issues, but also allows you to request features, functions, other things that you would love to see in there. We've got a team of folks actively gathering all that information so we can make sure we continue to add value as it grows. That's what I got.
Nicely done. Well, appreciate all the announcement. Appreciate all the leaderboards. And want to say congratulations to everybody that received a promotion. So well deserved. And I know so much more is to come, and a couple of individuals that we're so blessed and honored to have on the call today, Dave and Kellie Kushner. You guys wouldn't mind coming on. We've been fired up about this call. If you've ever spent time around these two individuals, you know a couple things. You're in for a good time, and you're in to be around two people that care a lot, care deeply for those that are around them, those that are in their lives. And we've been tremendously blessed to be in business with these two individuals. And also, I just thought it was pretty cool on the upcoming Father's Day to have these two individuals to come on and share what it's like to be a little bit in business together as a family and to go through this journey together. And I know Kellie and Dave, you both kind of have been in business together, from the start, but we're more formally transitioning to the Kushner Agency, I would say. So tell us a little bit about that, Dave, and that journey and what it's been like working with family along the way to this point.
Wow. Thank you so much for having Kellie and I. I get so emotional, when I talk about family and symmetry and our journey. So I've got my water here to sip on. So if I have to pause from time to time, if y'all give me some grace, I'd appreciate that. Kellie, we had a family business for over 20 years, and it fell apart. 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It was a very difficult time. And Kellie, how old were you, Kellie, when you kind of?
Oh boy, I mean, when the business officially closed, it was 2016. So that would have put me like graduating high school.
And
so
you were in the business. So as I had to let people go as things got difficult, and we had to take on, put hats back on that, we, had to put back on because we couldn't afford the staff. Kellie in high school, said, "Dad, I'll come and help," and so she started, if you remember that, answering the telephone, saying hello, dealing with adults around adult situations. And, I'm just such a lucky, dad and human being to have Kellie in my life. And, and she's riding this journey as well. So after we lost that business in 2016, and at 18 years old, Kellie wanted to start her own business. She opened up her own kitchen and bath store. She signed a lease and purchased displays, and she started marketing her own business, and just a little rock star. And she happened to have in her business in high school, or just after high school, she had an office that was empty. And that's when I started Symmetry in 2016. And I said, Kellie, can I use your office in your in the business that year?
Came full circle, huh?
Yeah. So she said, sure, Dad, I'll let you, throw me some rent every now and then if I need. But but I was sitting there, and Kellie was running her business on the other side of the wall, and I was doing my Symmetry thing.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I never, even when he was in that office, I never was interested in being a part of an insurance industry. I have to be honest. It wasn't very attractive to me. I never thought, boy, I want to be like my dad and sell mortgage protection or life insurance. So that went on for a couple of years. It wasn't until 2019 that I joined the team, and it was because I reached out to my dad and I wanted something different. I wanted to challenge myself a little bit. I wanted to be able to pay the bills for the most part. That's probably the main reason that I came on board. But through the years, I'm sorry, my animals, of course, decided to act up right as we're getting started here. But, as the years have gone on, I've been here almost 3 years. We've been able to put our brains together and work together to build the master agency. So it's been quite the journey and a ton of fun to do it alongside family. It's not always easy. Sometimes I want to rip his head off, and he probably wants to rip my head off. And that's okay. But we still love each other at the end of the day. And we've learned a lot. So we're just grateful for this opportunity to share a little bit about what that journey has looked like.
Yeah, and I wanted to not forget to thank Miranda Martin. So we're direct to Miranda. She put a Facebook post out there back in the day as I was losing the business. I was watching her journey from afar. And Ryan Miller and Michelle Miller. I want to mention Michelle Miller. She was so instrumental. She's behind. She's behind the scenes now, but in my first year or two, instrumental. So I just want to mention her and Rob Puckett. And I'm a whiny baby, I apologize. Rob Puckett, love you. And Marshall Whalen, in Marshall's organization. So we're so grateful that we landed with the folks that we landed with. And so we're just grateful to them. And I wanted to make sure I don't forget to thank them and mention them.
Absolutely, man. They're tremendous individuals. I know they're watching now, most of them poolside, it seems, at this moment. So well, we're just so grateful to have both of you on and appreciate you pouring in for the next 20, 25 minutes, whatever you guys need. And we would like to just show our sincere gratitude for everything that your family has meant to this company and paid back tenfold, and continue to look forward to see you guys grow and look forward to hearing about some catching flights and not feelings. Turn it over to you guys.
That's what the youngins are saying nowadays, Todd. Have you heard that motto, Brian or Todd?
Catch flights, not feelings?
I've not
Flights,
actually.
not feelings. I know Jimenez somewhere out there probably knows exactly what that means. Us younger AOs. But I thought it was really relevant to this call. I have to be honest, I hijacked a little bit. And I will say, just in honor of Father's Day, I wanted to take this as an opportunity to honor the legacy that my dad here has built since he joined in 2016. And first, I just want to kick it off talking about all of the success that he found. It's going to take a while because there's a long list of things that he's accomplished in his time here at Symmetry, but just hang tight because it wasn't always easy. And behind the scenes, what you didn't get to see when he was on the leaderboard and earning these trips and traveling the world with my mom was what we spoke about a little bit ago. It's all of the things that our family had gone through that first year or two that he joined this business. And I have to imagine, with the amount of people on this call, I'm trying not to look at how many people are on this call because my nerves just grow. But I have to imagine that there are some people here that are struggling with personal circumstances, whether that's financially, whether that's health related, whether that's relationships in your life that are falling apart. There are just things that are out of your control and that oftentimes can bleed into your professional life and can affect the results that you get in this business. And Dave here, my dad, I'll call him Dave for now during this call. I won't call him Dad during this call, but he's, definitely no stranger to what that feels like. And we'll be talking about how he was able to overcome that. So let me share my screen here with you all. Here are some of the accomplishments that Dave has seen in his years with Symmetry. This was by memory. So those of you corporate staff that are listening in, feel free to fact check. We're going off of Dave's memory here. I think it's pretty reliable. Do you think your memory is pretty reliable?
I don't know, but
We're just going to trust it. We're going to trust it. But he joined at the end of 2016. And so 2017 was his first full year in the business. He was ranked number 3 overall with Symmetry as a personal producer in 2017. In 2018, he was ranked number 4. 2019, he was ranked number 5. And 2020, you see, it kind of fell off there. That's when he really earned the flexibility to pull back from the field, since he was able to build a pretty sizable team here. He was number 1 overall in Symmetry with Mutual of Omaha for 3 years in a row, 2017, 2018, and 2019. Out of all the agents in Symmetry, Dave sold the most business with Mutual of Omaha. So definitely was a big fan of Moo. He earned the title of elite producer 6 times in his career here. 6 times. I mean, it's hard enough to earn that title just once, doing it a couple months back to back, but that was kind of his average for about an entire year in this business. He's currently a managing vice president. And let's look at some of the trips that Dave has earned as a result of his production. He's gone to Ireland, Paris, London, Denmark, Estonia, Iceland, Costa Rica twice, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, supposed to go to Hawaii, but due to COVID, you got $10,000 in cash instead. I guess that's okay as an alternative, if I say so myself. What was your favorite trip, Dave, if you can remember?
Oh boy, my favorite trip was with my wife we went to Ireland. Amazing experience, a beautiful country. And then we were able to fly over to Paris, and we had dinner in the Eiffel Tower has a restaurant. I had no idea. And my wife and I, Michelle, were able to have dinner in the Eiffel Tower, which, who does that? And just 2 years later, 2 years prior, the bad stuff. So that was amazing. And then Iceland. So Symmetry, Brandon, Brian, and Casey put together what they call a November to Remember. And if you do that, if you punch that in the nose, you get to pick a trip. And that is the most beautiful country. So if you all are looking for something to put on your bucket list, Iceland is just amazing, picturesque, beautiful people. Have to visit that country. So that
I would
those are the two.
I'd text my parents, or I'd call my parents, and they'd send me a picture, a selfie, and they were somewhere across the world. I had no idea. So they had definitely been rewarded by some of the insurance carriers and by Symmetry, by all the hard work that he put in this business. So what I wanted to show, and it's okay to laugh, that's the purpose of these videos. This was the office that Dave was referring to in my kitchen and bath store that I owned. This was Dave's insurance office in that back corner. And he worked really hard in that back corner to earn all of those trips that you just saw. And I, from time to time, would take these tiny little 10-second, 20-second videos of him as he learned how to function in this business, and as he sold policies and really developed himself as an agent and as a leader. You might mistake him for Steve Jobs. For some reason, he really loved his black turtleneck in 2016, but this is in fact the Dave Kushner. So let's watch a couple videos so you can get an idea of what this looked like for him behind the scenes.
Oh, no volume, Cal.
Uh-oh. Let me stop share really quick and reshare with my sound. There we go. Start that over.
Hey, don't be interrupting me, okay? I'm on the phone. I am Van Gogh, Rembrandt of the phones, of setting appointments, of sales. You got it? So don't mess with
Van Gogh of the phones. That was Dave in 2016. That was his attitude. Here's anybody on our team will get a kick out of this one, because we all know that he's addicted to Siri to text.
Send a new
Learn how to type.
Oh, Oh gosh, I love it. The stance.
Hey,
That stance that's intense. We know you're working hard on something. A couple more short videos.
And the highest app count, 14 applications, 17,782.80.
That was a 9-second video of Dave being read off as the number 1 producing agent of the week in Symmetry. He did 17,000 annual premium volume on 14 applications, and we were having a little dance party in the office there.
And that was the great Lisa Brown. If I heard her voice, Lisa was just so much impact on me in that first year. And I just love you, Lisa, if you're on here in Abra.
That's awesome. Here's my personal favorite. This one might embarrass Dave a little bit, but it's okay.
I wore these pants on Saturday.
How many appointments have you been to today?
This is the same pair of jeans I've worn Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it's now Thursday.
Gosh, no time to change when you are running 10 appointments a day in the field and you're driving to Indiana and you're driving several hours back and forth. I absolutely love that video. And last but not least, here's when Dave started to understand the concept of building a team.
By people, they're all in different levels. But after a year or two, if my agency, other people are making 10 to 15,000 a month, and I'm getting the override.
Oh gosh, if you're getting the override, Dave, what's that going to be like? I just love seeing these videos in that office of somebody who was trying to create a future for himself and his family. And we had so much fun in those days. 16 East Main, here in the suburbs of Chicago, and he grew and developed so much. And I truly felt like this opportunity here at Symmetry gave him like a second chance in his career. And in some ways at life. I mean, I just got to, get glimpses of my dad back again once we joined Symmetry. Just as a reminder for all of you, here's all that he accomplished in that time period. But if I can, I want to give you a little bit more of an inside look as to what was happening at the exact same time, hand in hand, along with all of these incredible accomplishments. There was a lot of pain for Dave and in our family. And so in 2016, when he officially joined Symmetry, he had just lost his franchise of 27 years collapsed in 2016 after investing every single penny that he had personally and even taking out loans to try and save it. That happened at the same time as these videos are taking place and as these accomplishments are made. He had still my mom, his wife, and 4 kids. I was one of them, still at home depending on his income. I was in high school. My little brother was in middle school when this was going on. Nonstop calls from bill collectors. We eventually learned to just, when in doubt, just send a voicemail if you want to have a good rest of your day. That was kind of, our motto. I remember getting woken up in the middle of the night because a couple times cars were getting repossessed as a result of not being able to afford the monthly payment anymore. Our home went into foreclosure. In 2016, along with the business, when we closed our doors to the business, the foreclosure process began. And he also was suffering with his mental health. So Dave was on depression and anxiety medication to get through most days, taking sleeping pills to be able to sleep at night. He had Xanax to get through majority of the days. So as you see him, running around that office and on those calls and celebrating his wins, he's also managing deep stress and mental health challenges and financial challenges. And obviously, when there are financial challenges, there are challenges within family relationships as well. And it was probably the most exciting time of his life to be earning all of these trips and all of this success, but it was also probably the scariest time of his life as well. And for those of you on the call that are also going through really difficult seasons and difficult times, you might find it hard to get on the phone and set appointments. You might find it hard to get in front of a family and sell a policy. It's difficult to separate. It's difficult to have your personal circumstances and your professional circumstances be separate from one another, but to some degree they have to be. And Dave, Dad, did this really, really well. He was going through all of this, but you would have never been able to tell if you were one of his clients. He was going through all of this, but you would have never been able to tell if you were one of his downline agents. He managed the personal circumstances really well and was able to find significant professional success through it all. So I want to unshare my screen. And Dave, I know it's kind of a loaded question, but how? how were you able to day to day handle all of that stress, all of that anxiety, all of the unknown, and still be the person that you were for your clients, for your agents, you know, on the leaderboards, functioning, setting appointments? How were you able to make that separation of personal and professional?
I don't know. It was a challenge, and in the beginning of the meeting here, they played a video. I think it was Danny Young, you know, said new beginnings, you know, that this is a new beginning. And so you know, out here in, you know, on this call, you know, you may be having a new start and it may be a new beginning for you. I was very scared. So inside I would hold it all in. The same month, and it's hard to talk about, but the same month I had registered for Uber and Symmetry. So I decided, you know, Symmetry and Uber, and I didn't know what path, you know, I was going to go down. But at the time I joined Symmetry, I understood the work-life balance of it. And that sounds attractive to have work-life balance, but I didn't need work-life balance at the moment. What I needed was work. And what I needed was to, you know, put myself into something that's going to save my family. And I was looking more at the work part of it. And I just knew that in you know, 3, 4, 5 years, 6 years, whatever that might be, that work-life balance will arrive. And, you know, but, you know, for me, it was just the work part. I wanted to survive. And David, my son, was in 7th or 8th grade. He grew up in the house, and I wanted him to be in the house until he graduated. So we had like 4 years. And so, like, if I can work my tail off in the next 4 years, my kids would be able to finish going to their school and be able to, geez, I'm so sorry. So my kids would be able to stay in the neighborhood, go to finish up their school with their buddies. You know, I don't know what would happen after that, but that was a huge, you know, thing for me. The how was my why, wanting my kids to keep the home. So I was fighting to, you know, pay the bills. My first conference in Symmetry was 2015, actually, a year before I started. My daughter, Katie, we both learned about Symmetry from Miranda's posts, but Katie got licensed at the age of 21. And I trust Miranda so much. And if Miranda and Ryan and all, they trust Symmetry, the speed of trust, because I love them and I trust them. And by default, I trusted Symmetry with my family. And I remember going to my first conference, sitting in the back of the room, had kind of my arms folded, and I specifically, it's, you know, embarrassing looking forward, you know, looking back. I hope somebody was literally in the back of the room with my arms crossed, watching thousands of people at conference. And I had a couple Xanax while I was there. I mean, I was in a really bad spot. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, Symmetry Financial Group, you know, I just lost everything. You know, what is a financial group?
Who wants financial advice from Dave Kushner?
Yeah, I'm going to help people with financial things. And, you know, and I just lost my home, and my daughters wake up in the middle of the night saying, Dad, I think there's someone in the parking in our driveway thing. So, you know,
just so you know, there's a piece of paper on your computer, Dad, that's causing some muffled noises.
It's called my notes. Your dad's brain cell. Connect and stay on point. And you know, so I just heard so many positive messages going to conference. So I want to stress the how I did it was I went to conference and I saw thousands of people, and hundreds of them that I talked to during those 3 days, and hearing their story of their struggle and their challenges in their lives, and then their fight to get it right and to get it on the, things, and then the successes that they had, and I remember understanding this business model that, Symmetry is like a franchise, and I understood, for the first time, like a team leader, that we can work our tail off and become a team leader, and we have a team and passive income. Then we work our tail off and we become what's called a key leader, and then an agency owner, and it was all laid out in front of me, and that just gave me so much hope, and it gave me a path, and it gave me that path. And so the conference was everything for me to experience and get impacted by that, because it gave me my compass.
Yeah. And I don't know of anyone else, but we talk a lot about going to conference and being able to afford going to conference, right? And I think with the situation that you were in, you were probably like the last person who could afford going to conference. And he still did, and I think that that's really inspiring for so many people on the call. They think that their personal circumstances is the reason that they can't go to conference, when it is the reason that they should go to conference. And you saw that opportunity, and you took that opportunity, and it really just fed you in the right way, and got your head on straight, so that when you got back, I think you were unlicensed when you went to conference. You had to get your license and then get going.
Yeah.
Shortly after.
We drove 9 hours, so couldn't afford it. We had gas money. We drove from Chicago to I think it was Raleigh, Durham, and it was Katie and I wanted to see, so yeah, so for me, if money is tight, that's why I need to go and hang out with folks that are creating for themselves what I want. I need to associate with that, and that's one of our cornerstones at Symmetry, is association, and so there's no excuses.
So tell me about the day-to-day as an agent, because when I started in this business in 2019, I was 20 or 21 years old, and I did not have the list of financial struggle. I mean, I had my problems as a 21-year-old, but the problems that I had was finding the motivation to get on the phone, finding the motivation to set appointments, to get in front of families. And I think the more your personal circumstances, grow, bigger and bigger, and problems come up, the harder it becomes to separate that and still get on the phone. I remember multiple times you said, I don't feel like getting on the phone, but I'm just going to do it. Can you talk a little bit about why you were able to still pick up the phone, still show up for your client appointments, and how you were able to kind of compartmentalize, what was going on in your brain at the time?
Yeah. I there's a lot of things, a lot of ways I can go on that. I think I've been blessed to associate with people in my adult life that helped explain to me the difference between being a victor or a victim when we encounter challenge and struggle. So we're all going to encounter challenge and struggle, and associating with the right people that help me to not feel sorry for myself and not to take on a victim, poor me mindset. And unfortunately, I think that, statistically wise, I think it's easier to get exposed to people in our lives that kind of feed into that. And, they'll tell you to quit. I've had, people, or, family members, people that I love, when I had first started Symmetry, they'd ask me how it was going. And for me personally, it was a struggle, getting started and learning our system and all. And people would ask me how it was going and how I'm doing. And then I would respond, well, I spent X amount, I spent $600 on leads or whatever it was. And this is what happened. And it's hard. And sometimes I wasn't associating with the right person. I mean, they loved me, but they would say, well, why don't you look for something easier? why don't you quit and find something that you're good at or easier. They didn't want to see me struggle. They didn't want to see me. And it's just so easy, I think, to go through our struggles, and then the people that we're associating with, if they're not the right people, they can encourage us to be more of that victim. Mm-hmm. and to do what's easy. What's easy is quitting and finding something else. That's easy. What's hard is hanging in there and plugging in and learning and doing better this month and next month and finding out what's wrong. And
right. I like to view it as, I am my own worst enemy. I will talk negatively about myself and about my ability to be successful in my career more than anyone else. And so I can't afford to invite someone into my space that isn't going to be supportive and loving and kind and encourage me to do hard things and encourage me to push through when things get tough. You just cannot afford it. So I love that you brought that up.
Yeah. And just to know, just as far as like something that I learned that a mentor, someone that I love taught me just to help my awareness in life is that when to look at all the people that are in my life, and some people are toxic and they're very bad for me if I want to change and grow and develop myself and do great things. And some people I need to consider eliminating a relationship. And it's like, wow, I never thought about consciously, identifying that person that's holding me back or someone that's really toxic. But eliminating the relationship is an option if people are toxic. Or the second one is limiting the association with certain people. My father, I loved my father, and I would take him for a beer and a cheeseburger every Friday before he passed. And he would ask me, how am I doing? And I would tell him how I'm doing. And oftentimes we talk about our struggles. And then he would tell me, well, why don't I look? He was one of those folks that told me, well, why don't I look for something easier and all of that. And so just a wise mentor of mine taught me how to navigate that conversation. I cannot eliminate my association with my dad or my family or something like that. Maybe an old buddy from high school I can eliminate. But with my dad, it's just limiting my association a little bit, or at least being aware of the conversation. So, and eventually when I met with my dad on those Fridays, and he would ask me how work was, I would say it's awesome, or it's unbelievable. I used to use the word unbelievable. Unbelievable could be good or bad. Oh, it's unbelievable, Dad. And he'd say, and that could be a lot. Sometimes it was bad, but
great.
But, yeah. Then I would ask him a question about himself, and we would change the conversation. And I was able to navigate that conversation because I didn't want to get brought down. Or so limiting the association, if you're taking notes, is something that we might need to do. And then the last one is expanding our association. It's expanding it and identifying those 3, 4, 5 people in your life that if you associate with them more, if you choose to consciously allow them to have impact in your life, that what they say moves you and it impacts you. So there, so I have a list. So I want to encourage everyone to write down, during this call or after the call, think of the 5 people, specifically for me, people in Symmetry that already had what I was working towards. They already achieved levels of success. So for me, it's Marshall and Ryan and Miranda, Dave Lappin. Now I don't want to name names. Mr. Grossman, one of my dearest friends, Larry, Mark Nadeau, the Guardian of the Galaxy, the super smart. But I consciously associate with people like that, because that's going to have a positive impact on me. And so I'm very careful with who I let in. And I think that was really going back to like, how did I do it? I associated with people that I knew were going to help me thrive and expanded those associations.
When I came on board in 2019, I made it really clear, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. So I myself put myself off on an island And I had no intention on, interacting with any of the other agents on our team and in your agency at the time. And I was wrong about that because when that had changed months down the road, and I took myself off that island and I started putting myself, on Zoom and in front of these like-minded individuals who had similar goals to me, it took my business to the next level and just my commitment level to the next level. One thing I want to make sure you touch on is, as the clock is ticking, is that you spoke, as in preparation, you spoke about the metrics and how that helped you with your activity level, because going over your stats, there's not many people that have accomplished all that you have in this business. And it took an incredible amount of activity, a lot of hours on the phone, a lot of clients that you sat in front of. How, what kind of sparked an interest in when you were new in this business, listening to conference calls? What was it that stuck out to you that helped you with that?
Yeah, so by going to, again, I think a lot stems from my experience of conferences, because I'm exposed to the folks that are doing, the folks that are leading, the folks that are stacking up the numbers, and you're able to rub elbows and talk to them. And I realized, and I didn't know this until I went to my first and then second conference, it was like, wow, this is a franchise, in my opinion. I don't think we use that word, but it's a proven system that when we apply the right level of activity with the right mindset, we know what the results are going to be. If we have very little activity, wrong mindset, not good. Unbelievable activity here, the right mindset, counseling, huge results. So from my previous life, we had metrics, we had numbers. And in my previous life, it was in my sales career, it was dialing the phone 150 to 300 times a day. I'm an old guy. We dialed the actual phone. I have a callus on my index finger. No kidding. No kidding. And I would dial the telephone, and the metric was when I dial the phone 150 times, I'm going to talk to 30 to 40, 30 to 50 people. When I do that, that was the metric. As long as I'm working new leads, they were new, fresh leads to me. And that was the metric. And when I talked to those, I would be able to find 20 people, 20 individuals that had an interest in our service. And then I would send them information, and then I would call them back a week later. And the metric was 6. When I was at my best, I would set 6 appointments out of the 20. The majority of the folks that I mailed information to, the majority of them were not interested when I called them back, but 6 were willing to set an appointment with me. And then 6 appointments led to 2 people showing up for what my service was. So I had 6 appointments, but only 2 showed up. So I was a failure 4 out of 6 times. And that was the metric, and that was a good job. And then when I sat with 2 people, I would help one family. So I would help one family for every, you go back on those numbers. So it was a system. And so when I came to Symmetry, it was the same system, dialing the phone 300 times, 500 times a week, and then, follow the system. The important part was, am I willing to do the work? Am I willing to show up every day and get on the phone, whether my belly hurt, whether my dog was sick, whether, whatever, and I have to show up. And as long as I put forth the activity, massive activity, with the right mindset, good things are going to happen. And so I learned this was a system, and that put fire in my belly. That because all I control is me at the end, and my activity. And so I just stacked up the numbers, because I knew if I stack up the numbers, good stuff's going to happen, and we'll be able to fix most of the family problems.
Yeah. One thing we say often in our agency is that numbers don't lie, people do. And if you're not tracking your numbers, right, you have no idea if what you're putting out every single day is within the metrics, right, and what you need to do to improve. And the math of this business, stayed the same throughout your journey in this company and learning how to be an insurance sales agent. And you could trust that if you put in X amount of activity, you were going to get this result. And that helped you, I think, remove the emotion part of the business immensely.
Yeah, and counseling with people who have, because in my first year, midway through, I wasn't doing what I needed to do and what I want to do. So when I went to conference, I remember a specific conversation. Tony Capistrano probably doesn't remember it. You know, at conferences, you know, the coach gets mobbed by a lot of people. But I was comparing, like, you know, where I was at and where he was at. I think he was number 1 or 2 in the country that first year, and the difference, like my belief after talking to him, was that he spent twice as much on leads than I did. And he said in his Tony, little accent, he said, "How much do you spend on leads?" And I told him, and he says, "Well, if you spend twice as much, you're going to get twice as much. And instead of 5,000 a week, you'll do 10,000 a week." Mm-hmm. And that one little conversation, with Tony was huge. And that never would have happened, that conversation, if it was that conference. That's why it's so important. That's where lives are changed. Lives are changed, and big changes in your life, or big changes in my life, happen that day. In one part, talking to Tony, making that one little adjustment. And I was afraid to spend, the money. There was something holding me back. I didn't even have a GMR, a standing lead order. And so that was when I had to put myself in the corner and put a GMR in, that I'm going to get these leads, that I'm going to get them each week. And that was a big part of it, putting in an order so that I have consistent inventory, and that consistent inventory required my consistent activity to process them.
Yeah. I want to share my screen one last time as we kind of conclude. That went by quick, man. We were like, how are we going to talk for that long? That just went by in a minute. But just the last slide that I wanted to share with you all, and it's been said countless times on calls like this. Casey, I know, is the first person I heard this come out of his mouth for the first time. This business is 80% mental and 20% skill. And this John Maxwell quote at the bottom there: once you start to change your mindset, you will immediately start to change your behavior. So many people might look at Dave as somebody who has, every sales skill possible. And that's why he was able to earn all of those trips and, all of that recognition. And that's 20% of it. But the 80% of his success comes from his ability to set aside personal, uncontrollable circumstance that we were going through as a family and stick to the system, stick to the metrics, put in the activity necessary. And that was 80% mental. And so if you're on this call and you're struggling to put in the right amount of activity, or do the right things, or have the right behavior, whatever it takes to earn your goal, maybe that's what it is for you. Maybe you're focusing in too much on the sales skill portion of it, but really it's that time needs to be spent on your mindset and on who you associate with, on whether or not your personal circumstances is bleeding too much into your professional life. So if you take a few minutes after this call just to kind of reflect on that, I think it could have a huge impact on your business. So happy Father's Day, Dad.
That was awesome, Kel.
Appreciative of all the hard work that you've put in over the years, and very inspiring. And although those years were so hard on us as a family, and on me as a teenager, and on my siblings as just kids, we have grown and learned so much because we were exposed to some real vulnerable truth that adults go through. And I'm grateful for that being a part of our story. So Todd, going to pass it over to you so you can join everybody at the pool.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it, guys. The comments, the text, the messages coming in, just a perfect Father's Day tribute, and so much heart and sincerity, I would say, in this call. And thank you for sharing and being vulnerable, Dave, and Kellie, for showing your experience and your leadership through that time as well. And see what you guys accomplish in the future is going to be absolutely amazing. And I just can't thank you both enough for sharing today. So appreciate everybody so much. Look forward to seeing everybody tonight at the Spring Tour event, and we'll catch you all again here next week. Happy Father's Day to everybody.
Thank you. Happy Father's Day.